type yoga class today. So if you have a couple of blocks around, you can grab them. You don't have to have them, so don't feel like that is necessary. But I will suggest everyone has a little bit of a folded blanket or something for maybe underneath your knees, maybe underneath your head, maybe underneath the back of your pelvis, a few little moves here. And let's get going. The only thing that I really want to say is, as we move through the moves, I can't really see you, can't really give you feedback, and that's fine. But just, take your own pace. If we move into something that doesn't feel great for you, then you can either hang out in what we were doing, or maybe just take a break for a few moments and take a few breaths, and then just rejoin us on the next pose or the next move that feels good for you. Okay, so we're going to start on the mat or just kind of in your area. And you might even want to slide that blanket underneath you. Give yourself a little bit of cushioning underneath the sit bones there. And just situate yourself so that you're not fighting, the feeling of rolling back. You can kind of let your torso just sit on top of your pelvis comfortably. Just shoulders relax. And we're just going to start with a few breaths. Just going to let ourselves feel the weight of our body kind of pressing into the blanket or the floor. And see if you can let that breath come in through your nose and then back out through your nose. You can let your cheeks relax a little bit on this next breath. And then we're going to let our left hand, doesn't matter if it looks like the left to you, it might be opposite in the camera. Drop it to the floor. Take your right hand and reach it up on and over. And take it over your head and get a nice bend off to the side. So I'm reaching my right hand off to the left. Take a breath in there and let it go. And then let's come back. And then we're going to twist in that direction. So now you're going to let your hands walk along the floor, let your fingers walk along the floor and twist to the left. And then come back to center. And then we're going to reach up and over one more time. So left hand to the floor, right arm reaches up and over. Inhale, exhale. And then walking into that twist. So let your fingers just kind of walk their way around your body and let your torso twist. Let your shoulders stay down. And let's come on back. We're going to go to the other side. So your right hand is going to drop down. Take your left arm up and over. So that left side of the body is getting that opening feeling now. Breath in and out, and then bring it back down. And then you can start to walk your hands along the floor and find that twist off to the right. And we'll come back to center. And then right hand down, left arm reaches up and over. And then swing that back down. And again, let's do that twist over to the right side this time. And if you started in the opposite direction than me, that's fine. Just remember you're going in the opposite direction. Going back to center. Reach your legs forward. And flex your ankles. So you're going to bring the tops of your feet kind of back towards your torso. And then walk your hands down your shins. And feel that hinging at the hips. Your sit bones are still on the floor or on your cushion. And then come back up to seated. Let's swing our arms out to the sides and all the way up towards the ceiling. Reach nice and high. Let your fingertips reach towards the ceiling and lengthen all the way down both sides of your body. Keep those ankles dorsiflexed. So the toes are drawing back towards your shins. Imagine your sit bones are pressing down into the floor. Turn your hands so they're facing out and press down. And then we'll turn the palms to face up and scoop that air up, go all the way back up, fingertips towards the ceiling. And press down. We're going to come down to shoulder height. Let your feet relax. And now we're going to twist over to the left direction first. And back to center. And let's twist over to the right. And come on back to center. Swing your hands down towards your knees. Flex your ankles again and walk those hands down your shins. Find that forward fold. If it feels good for you and you want to take that fold all the way down a little bit further and reach towards your ankles, you can do that too. And then let's bring ourselves back up. You can slide your knees in towards you and let's come on down onto the mat, all the way down. So just get yourself situated down here. We're going to take our left leg nice and long. You're going to bring your right knee in towards you and take your hands to the back of your thigh. You can just let your thigh be relatively vertical. You're going to bring your heel in towards your bottom, and then you're going to swing your foot up so that your foot is parallel to the ceiling. Maybe it doesn't go quite into that direction. That's fine. Bend your knee and reach it up. And let's go 2 or 3 more times. Notice if you're holding your breath. Let yourself breathe as you reach up. And last one, let's take that leg up and I want you to flex that ankle. So draw the toes back towards you. Feel that length up through the back of your leg. Maybe you draw that in a little bit closer towards you. And then you can let that go, bring that foot to the floor, and let's switch out. We're going to go to the other leg. So your left knee is going to bend in, hands to the back of that thigh. Maybe stacking your thigh so that your knee is over your hip. And let's start to reach that leg up, extend through your knee, and bend. You do this nice and slow. You might start to feel a few little places where things get tight. You feel a little bit of shaking. As long as nothing's feeling uncomfortable or painful. So see if you can breathe and find those little spaces of challenge. One more. Reach that foot up. Nice and long through that leg. Flex the ankle. So bring that foot parallel to the ceiling if you can. And maybe you're going to draw that leg in a little bit closer towards you to increase that stretch. All right, let's bring that in and let it come down to the floor. Bring both feet in, slide them in so your knees are bent. Bring a little bit of width between your feet, maybe about the width of your pelvis, and we're going to press up gently into a bridge. So bringing the back of the body off the floor, you don't have to bring yourself up really high. Reach your knees forward so you start to lengthen through the thighs. And come on back down. And then you're going to let your fingertips walk towards the direction of your feet. So you're going to let your arms lengthen and your shoulders draw away from your ears. Pressing your hands into the floor, let's find that bridge again. So pressing up, take the back of the pelvis off the floor. Knees are reaching away from you. Let your feet hold that weight. So you're not coming up onto the top of your shoulder blades or your neck anywhere. Let's take our right knee and drop it out to the side. So you're keeping the height of your pelvis here, keeping those fingers dragging towards the foot of the mat. Right knee drops out to the side. Bring that right knee back in. Take your left knee and drop it out to the side. So your foot kind of falls onto the outer edge of your left foot. Keep that height in the back of your pelvis, a little bit of work here, and come back in with your knee. Let's lower down. Bring your knees in towards your chest and give them a little hug. Now, if you have that blanket, you're going to slide it underneath the back of your pelvis. So you can create just a little shelf. And then we're going to take our knees in towards our chest, and we're going to reach our legs up and see if you can straighten through the backs of your legs. Take your right knee and bend it down. Take your hands to the back of your left leg and draw that leg in towards you. Keep that ankle flexed. And then bend that left knee, taking it out to the side, and bring your left ankle across your right thigh. If you need to let your right leg move away from you to do that, then you can slide that away and then bring it back in a little bit towards you. So your left knee's out to the side, your left ankle's resting on your right thigh. Take your hands to the back of your right thigh and you can draw that leg in just a little bit towards you. Find your breath, let that go. And then you can let your hands slide that right leg away and take your left leg back up, return it to that position, foot facing the ceiling. And let's switch. So you're going to bend your left knee, take your right leg to the ceiling or your right foot to the ceiling. You can take your hands to the back of that right thigh and draw that leg in towards you just a little bit. Bending that knee, taking your right knee out to the side. We're going to come into this figure four position. Maybe you slide your left foot forward so you can get your foot or your ankle in front of your knee. And then switch your hands over to the left thigh now and draw that in towards you a little bit. Might feel that intensity increase in the outer part of your right hip. Take a breath, let it go. And then you can slide that away. Take the right foot back up to that starting position, extend that knee, foot facing the ceiling. And then you can bring both knees in towards you. Let's take a twist over towards the right. So your arms can come out to shoulder height on the floor. Roll your palms to face the ceiling. And with both knees just holding together, let's twist the lower body over towards the right, only as far as it's comfortable for you to go. And then back to center. And we'll take that over to the left. So if your low back is not feeling fantastic today, I want you to make this twist a little bit small. Just be mindful of what feels good. Go back to the right. And back to the left. Okay, we're going to bring those feet back to the floor. Let's press into our bridge. So you're going to press your weight into your feet, lift the back of the body away from the floor. Take your blanket out from underneath there. And this time we're going to take both knees nice and wide. You're going to keep the height of your pelvis off the floor. So if you feel yourself drooping down, see if you can press up gently. Use the outer edges of your feet to press into the floor. And let's bring our knees together. And let's come on down. Take your feet nice and long. Arms are reaching overhead. So you're nice and long from the tips of your toes to the tips of your fingertips. Tips of your fingertips, tips of your fingers. Let's interlace those fingers. And then you're going to take your upper body and shift it on the mat over towards the right so the left side of your body gets a nice big long stretch. Take a breath there. Cross your left ankle over your right. So your left side of your body is nice and long. The right side of your body a little bit compressed. And then let's come back to center. So you can start to shift your upper body back and uncross your ankles. Slide your right foot in. So your foot's on the floor, your knees bent. And we'll bring that left leg into that figure four position again. Or maybe it's thread the needle if you're used to it being called that. So your left knee is pressing out to the side. Outside of your left ankle is resting on your right thigh. We're going to do a twist here. So take your arms out to the sides, find that T shape, and let your left foot rotate over towards the floor. So your lower body is twisting. It may come to the floor, maybe not. And you're just letting that left leg try to fall away from you. Might feel like it's trying to fall towards you. And then we'll come back to center. And let's switch out. So take your legs nice and long. We're going to do that first stretch, that first move. It's called Banananasana, one of my favorite names. Interlace your fingers. Take the upper body over towards the left side. So scoot your ribs and your shoulders all the way over there. Take your right ankle and cross it over your left. Find a nice breath and let it go. And then you can uncross your ankles, start to work yourself back to center. Slide your left foot in so that it's on the floor. Knees bend. Bring your right knee in. Let it fall out to the side. And your right ankle is placed on that left thigh. Let's find that thread the needle. Arms are coming up to that shoulder height. Let them lay on the floor. Let your shoulders relax. And let's take that right foot and twist it over towards the left direction. Maybe your foot comes to the floor. Maybe it doesn't. Just letting that right knee kind of fall away from you. And then we'll come back to center. Bring your knees in towards your chest. Let's roll ourselves to the side. So we're going to roll to the side and we're going to come all the way over into quadruped. So you can work your way up into a kneeling position and then bring your hands forward. And if you find your wrists might be a little uncomfortable here, this is a nice place where your blanket can be a little bit of help for your wrists. So you're going to put the heels of your hands on the blanket and let your fingers just kind of fall over the edges. And that can help a little bit. So let's just start here. We're going to take a few breaths. Imagine the crown of our head is reaching long towards the head of the mat. Sit bones are reaching behind you. Let your shoulders just relax. Let your chest relax a little bit. Notice if you're pushing up and away from the floor. We're going to pick up our left leg and we're going to reach it back. You can flex your ankle the same way that we did before, drawing the toes towards your shin. Press your hands into the floor. Feel nice and strong. Feel that length from the crown of your head all the way towards your left foot. Reach the heel of your left foot back. And then let's bring that in and switch to the right. So place your left knee down. Let's get ready. Imagine the crown of our head, nice and long, reaching towards the head of the mat. Pick up your left foot and reach it back. Nice and long through that leg. Flexing your ankle, imagining that you're feel a little laser in your heel that's pointing straight out behind you. And let's bring that knee in. Take your elbows down to the floor. Place them down where your shoulders were. And then you're going to let your sit bones slide back. So pressing your elbows into the floor, feeling that length through the triceps and kind of down through the sides of your ribs. And then we're going to come back into our quadruped. So coming back into tabletop, maybe that's what you're used to hearing it called. Shoulders over the wrists somewhere. Find a comfortable place to start. We're going to reach forward with the left arm this time. And then bring that back in, place it on the floor, and let's pick up and reach forward with the right arm. And then we're going to place our right hand on the floor. We're going to get ready and we're going to go back to the left arm. So reach your left arm forward. Find your balance, get nice and stable. Pick up your right leg and reach it back behind you, nice and long through that leg. Can you reach that heel in the opposite direction of your left fingertips? All right, bring that hand in. Let's bring that knee in. And we're going to come up into a lunge before we do the other side. So let's bring our left foot forward and you can leave your, right foot forward, leave your left knee down. If you want a little bit of a blanket underneath your left knee, you can do that now. And we're going to just take our pelvis and shift forward a little bit, increase that length through the front of your left leg. Reach your arms up all the way Take your hands together, reach your fingertips towards the ceiling. And then turn your palms out and press down. Let's shift back. You can bring your hands down and let's go back to our tabletop. This time, our opposite arm is going to reach forward. So right arm is going to go forward for me. Left leg is going to pick up and reach back. So coming into your bird dog, thinking about the length of your spine, imagining the crown of your head growing towards the head of your mat. Imagine your heel lengthening in the opposite direction. You can bring your hand in and then bring your knee in. And we're going to step forward in the other direction. So left foot's going to come forward for me this time, stepping up into your lunge. You can let your back foot relax and then just shifting forward. Finding that length through the right leg, and then you can reach your arms up, swing them up, take a nice breath, bring your palms together and reach your fingertips up. Turn your palms out and let's press down. And you can shift back and let's come on back down into our tabletop. Bring your elbows down to the floor and shift back. Sit bones reaching behind you, just pushing those elbows forward. Okay, come on forward. We're gonna do that one more time. So come on up. Finding a little bit of a flow here now that you know what you might be expecting. Let's pick up our left arm, reach it forward. Pick up your right leg, reach it back. Let's swing that left arm back, bring it towards our hip. Add just a little bit, reaching those fingers back in the same direction as your foot. Now swing it forward. Bring your left hand down. Let's step forward with your right foot, and you can come on up into your lunge. Maybe you shift a foot. Maybe you slide something under your knee, and then let's slide forward. Inhale up. Reach those arms up. Turn your palms to face out and press down. Let's come back up and stack this lunge, and we're going to take a twist to the right side. So left hand comes to your knee, and you can twist and reach off to the right. And then come back to center. Bring your hands down. If it feels good to bring your blocks under your hands and heighten that a little bit, then you can slide those over and do that now. Let's go to the other side. So right arm forward, left leg back. Finding that bird dog, flex that ankle. Imagine that heel to head connection. Pressing the left hand down into the floor. Swing your right hand back towards your hip. Reaching it back. Swing it back forward. And then you're going to bring it down to the floor. And let's step into that lunge on the other side. So stepping that left leg forward and take your hips, take your pelvis, slide it into that forward position, reach the hands up, clasping those palms together, fingertips towards the ceiling. Turn the palms out and press down. Stacking your lunge back up, so bringing the hip a little bit more over your knee. We're gonna turn and take the twist off to the left. Reach that hand back. And then come forward. Bring your hands down to the floor. Step that knee back. And let's take our elbows down and just shift back. You can let your feet relax, bring the tops of them down onto the floor. And just take your hips from side to side. All right, we're gonna lower down onto the floor. So maybe you take a hip to the floor. I'm gonna take my right hip to the floor and my right elbow. So I'm gonna stack my right elbow underneath my right shoulder. And then I'm gonna line up my torso nice and long with my knees bent. And I'm gonna press up and lift the side of my body off the floor and find this elbow plank. It's like a half plank. Reach your top leg down nice and long and bring it on the floor. Flex that ankle. Take your left arm and reach it towards the ceiling. Really press into that elbow and lift yourself up and off that floor. You can bring that arm down towards the floor in front of you and touch, and then back up. And then we're going to turn back forward and come into our quadruped. You can press yourself right up. And then we're going to come down in the other direction. So I'm going to change directions, but you can just walk yourself back down onto the other elbow. Almost finished here, folks. Line up your left elbow under your left shoulder. Let's bring the hips and knees in line. Bend your knees. Press yourself up, letting that elbow hold your weight, pressing down into the floor. Top leg extends. Your foot can flex, come onto the floor, and then reach that right arm up this time. Right and lefts are all backwards today. And then you can bring that right arm down, touch the floor, and bring it back up, finding a little bit of a twist there. And then let's lower back down. And you can press yourself into your quadruped one more time and elbows to the floor. Let's just lower back as far as it feels comfortable. Find a little bit of a side to side move in your child's pose. Or if it feels better to leave the elbows down and just leave your sit bones up in that stretch we were doing before, you have either choice. And then we're going to make our way all the way down onto the floor. We're going to roll ourselves over. So you're going to bring yourself into your mini Shavasana for today, our tiny little rest at the end. You have plenty of options for great sessions to sit through today, so you can just take this moment to slow down. Feel any little bits that might have gotten woken up in the last few moments. You can take your legs all the way nice and long if that feels good, or you can leave your knees bent. Let your head and your jaw relax. Feel your shoulder blades resting on the floor. As you take your next breath in, just let all the space in your abdomen kind of open up and fill up with whatever breath it can, bringing it up into your ribs and then a little bit up towards your collarbone and neck. Just encouraging all of that lung space to move freely. And then we're going to wiggle our toes on both feet. Take 2 deep breaths in through your nose and back out. Whatever deep feels like for you. Roll yourself over to the side. Use one hand to press yourself up. And we can bring ourselves back into any seated position that feels good. Thank you so much for joining yoga class this morning. I hope you all have an absolutely wonderful day in whatever garden sessions you're joining. Tomorrow we'll be working on happy, healthy hips. So if you're joining class, 9:30 again tomorrow.